as a kid from the wrong side of the tracks, I have had the most wonderful run that anyone could dream of. And I've had a lot of fancy titles, director of significant occurrences, vice chairman's, all this nonsense. At the end of the day, I'm a salesman. From the very first knocking of the door when I was, I don't know, 6 or 7 years old, to being McCann Erickson, an Interpublic group of companies, one of the largest advertising holding company in the world, pitch guy. I was Rudy Giuliani's early kitchen cabinet, so it was all about on the front lines of pitching to get a mayor in the mayoral seat. So I've seen big and small, won a lot, lost a lot, but at the end of the day, pitching is a human game. The single most important rule, I have several, but the most important rule is behind every decision of any kind is a human emotion. We tend to think because it's business, it's all about facts and figures. It's none of those things. When I was writing my book, I asked my mom, do you know anybody that sold anything door to door? She said, yeah, Enid Merrin, a woman I used to know when I was a kid. She used to sell encyclopedias. And I called her and I said, okay, Enid, what's your tip? What's your pitch tip? She's very simple. A mother doesn't want a set of encyclopedias. She wants her kid to be president. Behind that decision is something much more important, and it's true in business. When we were pitching the Priceless campaign for MasterCard, which became world famous, the decision was going to go to the agency whose advertising tested the best. Priceless failed, and yet they still hired us. They hired us because in their soul they didn't think they could win, but they did think they could win with us. So it's an emotional connection between what they dream about, what they fear, and how you can connect yourself to it. The thing to avoid when pitching, apart from not keeping your prospect's heart at the center of the decision, is not to have a point of view, And it's even more than that. Most presentations are linear. Here's the facts, here's the background, blah, blah. Think like a lawyer. I call it the advocate's approach. Pitch like you're pitching, my client could not have committed the crime because I can prove she wasn't there. This kind of thing. They have a central thematic, we call a theorem, which is attached to your hidden agenda, by the way, which is the emotional motivation, and then evidence. Point A, point B, point C, not racking up some PowerPoint presentation in a courtroom. It doesn't happen that way. And then you got to summarize. The summary is your close, because you got to ask people for the order. You want to tell them, this is what I want you to do. I was pitching to Sandy Weill to determine the name of Citicorp, right? It wasn't about Citicorp. It was about a kid from the wrong side of the tracks who finally purchased the largest bank in the world. That was the pitch. So keeping the heart of your prospect at the center is how you, and connecting yourself genuinely. And remember, you got to be yourself. At the end of the day, who you are, as you are, is the best pitch man on the planet.